All right, in this video, we are going to work through problem 4.136 out of our book. It says, state populations. From info, please, we obtained data on state population from which we constructed the following frequency distribution. All right, so we have population size in millions over here, and then the frequency. It says, compute the following conditional probabilities directly. That is, do not use the conditional probability rule, which we haven't talked about yet. It says, for a state selected at random, find the probability that the population of the state is A, between 2 and 3 million. Okay, so we want the probability that the population is between 2 and 3. Okay, so all right, so I guess we should do it like that based on the way they have the table. So I'm going to write that out like so. All right. So the population is between 2 and 3 million. So that is not a conditional probability. It's just a straight probability. We will need to add all these numbers up. So let's do that. Put this back down. All right, let me see if I can put it in here without breaking everything. Okay, great. All right, so add that up. 6 plus 8 plus 6 plus 8 plus 15 plus 7. All right, so that comes out to be 50, which is good. So let's write that down. Okay. So we want to find the probability that the population of the state obtained is between 2 and 3 million, right? So that would be these in this part of the table right here. Okay. So that is 6, right, out of 50. That's it. All right. Part B, they want to know, what is the population, or what is the probability that a randomly selected state has a population between 2 and 3 million, given that it is at least 1 million. So at least 1 million. Okay? All right, so this is a conditional probability, right? And so we want to know what's the probability that, that the population, man, I could get it a little bit smaller than that. All right, so what's the probability that the population is between 2 and 3 million, given that is at least 1 million? All right, so now this is a conditional probability, and now our sample space, right, is going to be those states that have a population of at least 1 million. Okay, so in the chart over here, right, at least 1 million is all of these, right, that are going to have a population of at least 1 million. The only ones that don't have that is the under 1 millions right here. All right, so I know that there's 50 total, okay, and 6 are not in our event, right, and so that would be 44. Okay, so that is now the size of our sample space. We are only looking at states that have at least 1 million in population, right? So this bottom number is going to be 4, right? Next up then, what we want for the top number is the number of states, right, that have a population between 2 and 3 million. So that is going to be just this group right here. All right, so of these states, right, the ones that have a population between 2 and 3, there's 6 of those. So the probability is going to be 6, right, out of 44. Okay. All right. Next up in part C, they want to know what is the probability that a randomly selected state has population less than 5 given that it is at least 1 million. Okay. All right, so again, this is a conditional probability. And so the set of all states that have a population of at least 1 million now becomes our sample space, right? And from part B, we already added those up, and we know that there are 44 states, right, that have a population of at least 1 million, okay? And so now what we would want to do is to calculate the number of states that have a population of less than 5 million, okay? So looking at it, that would be these states less than 5, right? So these states right here, all right? So that would be the having less than 5, and let's see, I should have erased this and drawn this out as well. We're looking at states that have a population of at least 1, right? So that's now these states right here. Okay, so that's the bottom number, that's the 44, right, that we're looking at. And here, what we want are all of the states, right, that have at least are less than 5 million, right, in here, that are also in this set as well, right, that also have at least 1, right? And so that would not include this first one. That would include only these 3 right here, okay? So again, right, we are looking for all of the states that have less than 5 million in population that also have at least 1 million, okay? And so that would be just these 3, all right? And so we would add these 3 numbers up, and that would be our top number, 8 plus 6 plus 8. That is 22, right? So that number would go on top here, okay? All right, next up is part D. In part D, it says, it's just interpret your answers in part A through C in terms of percentages, right? So that just means convert these, right? 6 divided by 50 would be 0.12, which would be the same as 12%, right? So 12% of the states have a population between 2 and 3, okay? 6 out of 44. That would be 0.136, right, to 2 decimal places, or 13.6%. All right, and so the interpretation of this as a percentage would be that at 13.6% of the states that have at least 1 million population, of those, right, 13.6% have a population between 2 and 3 million. Okay. In the last example here, we have 0.5 as a decimal, right, which is 50%. And again, this is a conditional probability, right? So what we would say is that of the states that have at least 1 million in population, right, 50% have a population that is less than 5 million. Okay. All right, and that is it for this example.